What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the City Life Project YouTube channel for yet another predictions video. Today, by request, by the way. So thank you so much for watching these prediction videos. Enough to request PFL Europe 2 2023 regular season. Now, we can't even watch this in North America, and we still got a suggestion, a request to run down this card. So without further ado, let's quickly run it down. I say quickly because I didn't have any intention to do this predictions video, but I appreciate all you subscribers, all of you who support the channel. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. We do prediction videos and live fight companions every single weekend, if we can find a stream, including this PFL card. But let's get right into the first fight on the card. We have Alisher Abdullayev against Oswald Fedorovich. Alisher 8-3. In his last 5 fights, he is the huge favorite, fighting out of Germany, minus 400 favorite, 8-3 as a pro. 1 KO TKO, 5 submissions, 2 decisions. He's 3-0 in MMA Live. His third loss was in Brave CF, which is the toughest promotion that he has fought in up until now. When he's 3-1, he lost to a 4-2 guy. When he's 3-0, he lost to a guy making his pro debut at Alash Pride FC. I'm not super impressed with his wins. I mean, 3-2 went up against a guy making his pro debut, whatever, 4-2, same thing. 5-7. I mean, that guy's kind of a can as well. Beat a 15-9 guy. I mean, that's not the best record, but hey, there's experience there. Leveled up in Brave, or I should say, tried to level up in Brave and didn't get it done. His last win was also by split decision, where he went up against a guy similar record to him, if not almost exactly the same, at 7-3-1, where he was 7-3. Huge favorite against his opponent, Oswald Fedorovich, who is 7-4 in his pro MMA career, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, and he's a pretty big underdog. Now, these are PFL lines. These are PFL betting lines. They may as well be Bellator lines, so take it with a grain of salt. He's from Lithuania. He's 24 years of age. 4 KO TKO, 1 submissions, 2 decisions, 6-2 in King of Kings. Like I said, he's riding a hell of a win streak. Also mixing a kickboxing fight in there as well. And you know how I said his opponent kind of crushed cans? Well, now I understand why this guy is the underdog. Absolute can crusher, man. His last guy that he beat via spinning back fist 22 seconds in the first round was making his pro debut. I mean, the best guy that he fought was 5-1 and he lost to him. So yeah, totally understand now why this man, who doesn't have necessarily the best record either, or should I say, has not beaten the best opponents either, I understand now why he's the favorite. I got to go with the favorite as well on this one. Fedorovich, 24 years old, still has a lot of time to develop. I'm going with the German, locking it in. Next, we have Christina Brewer against Ruby Messu. Christina Brewer, 1-0 as a pro, making her pro debut, is the Lady Tyson. Damn. Yeah, live up to that nickname. Ruby Messu. The moderate favorite is Christina out of Germany, minus 240. Her opponent, Ruby Messu, plus 190. Again, just a 1-0 record. Has fought in kickboxing as well. Split decision in 1 championship against Dorina Bars, who she doesn't have the best pro MMA record either, but let's take a look at her kickboxing. So against a solid Muay Thai and kickboxer, she got a win against her in 1 championship, a promotion that you guys all know I very much love and respect. Her opponent out of the Netherlands, who's got some hands, if that's going to be your nickname, plus 190 underdog. No amateur stats or anything on her. Again, I'm guessing she's a boxer, given that nickname. Women's MMA, man. It's hard to choose a winner in women's MMA, especially when you have little to no info on them. If I'm going to go with one person who has 1 pro MMA fight and who's a kickboxer by trade, I understand why she's the favorite. I'm going to go with her, Christina Brewer. However, again, women's MMA, both of them very, very new to pro MMA. At plus 190, slight underdog. it's not the worst to sprinkle a little some on that. But I'm going with the favorite on this one, which I will probably be going with most of the favorites on this card. But you never know. I said that the last time we did a PFL predictions video, and lo and behold, I went with like 3 or 4 underdogs. So anyways, locking this one in, Christina Brewer. She's got the experience, and she's fought higher level kickboxers and Muay Thai practitioners, I imagine, versus Ruby Mesu. Next on the card, we have lightweights. Maxime Radu against Jacob Kazuba. Maxime Radu, 10-2 in his pro MMA career. This is pretty much a pick'em, folk. He is the slight underdog at plus 100. He is from Turin, Italy. 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He is 32 years old. 6 KO TKO, 2 submissions, 2 decisions. He likes to knock motherfuckers out. 1-0 in Bellator, 1-0 in PFL. So he does have some solid experience in big promotions. He fought in PFL 8 in the playoffs, where he beat a 13-2 guy. Lost to Yoel Alvarez, 14-1 via triangle choke in AFL. No shame in that. I mean, we talked about some can crushers earlier. This guy hasn't faced the best opponents on the come up, but he does have some better names in comparison, like I said, to some of the other guys who we've talked about. Beat a 6-2 guy when he was 6-1, 8-3 guy when he was 8-1. And a 13-2 guy in his last fight. Not bad, not bad. And before suffering his second loss, he went on a 2-4-6 fight win streak. Now, did he fight the best guys throughout that win streak? No. But again, it was throughout that win streak where he beat Leonardo Carletti, where he beat Danielle Miselli, 6-2, as well as Simon La Preziosa, who is 8-3. Looking at his opponent, who's on an 8-fight win streak out of Poland, but trending out of Jacksonville, Florida, 28-year-old Jacob Kazuba, undefeated as a pro. 3 decisions, 1 submissions, 4 KO TKOs. He's pretty balanced. He's only fought in Combat Night. I don't think I've ever even heard of that promotion. Beaten 11-5 guy in his last fight, 11-8 before then. Hasn't fought the best opponents. I would say his last 2 opponents are probably his best, or are his best wins. 1 via rear naked choke, 1 via KO TKO. So look, you finish via submission and KO TKO, the 2 best guys on your record. That says something. And a pretty good amateur career, going 5-0. I'm going with the favorite again on this one. The cat from Poland he's beaten better guys. And the fact that his last 2 wins were finishes against the 2 best guys on his record, he's just constantly leveling up. 28 years old. He's a little bit younger than the 32-year-old Maxime Radu. Again, this one's a pick'em. So, and these guys both have decent experience, decent records. Again, not fighting the best guys on the come up, but fighting, in their last few fights anyways, some of the best that they could get. I'm still going with the favorite here, Jacob Kazuba. Next up the card, we have Anatolij Baal against Seba Santana Guedes. My apologies if I butcher any of these guys' names, by the way. It's the first time I'm reading some of these names here. Anatolij Baal, 9-3 in his pro MMA career, but his record doesn't look good in his last 5 fights, ladies and gentlemen. Does not look good in his last 5 fights at all. Yet he is the favorite at minus 145. Let's take a look here. The Serbian Tiger. Or Siberian Tiger, my mistake. 9-3-1. 5 KO TKO, 2 submissions, 2 decisions. Okay, I like that. 1 no contest in ACB, 1 draw in GMC. Holy crap. 2, 4, 5 fights have fallen through between 2021 and 2023. Yeah, sure, he's coming off a win against an 18-38 guy. Before then, lost 2 in a row. The draw and no contest being mixed in there as well. I guess he beat an 8-4 guy when he was 7-1. Beat a 7-2 guy when he was 6-0. Beat a 4-9 guy, 6-4. I mean, what a weird record here. I mean, he beat a 6-4 guy when he was 3-0. That's good. 7-2 guy when he was 6-0. 6-0. That's good. But an 18-38 guy. I mean, you should have finished him, brother. You should have finished him. And now, and then 5 fights canceled leading up to this appearance here at PFL Europe 2. Looking at his opponent, the slight underdog. Again, this one's a pick'em as well, folks. Santana Guedes, 9-5 in his pro MMA career, and his last 5 fights don't look that good either. I mean, good matchmaking, I guess, given that they're in pretty similar situations. He's from Spain. He's 28 years old. He's coming off a win, but that's pretty much it in his last few fights. Let's take a deeper dive here. 1 KO TKO, 5 submissions, 3 decisions in his pro MMA career. 1 and 2 on Combate Global. 1 draw, and 1 no contest in AFL. He beat a 6 and 5 Jimmy Sandine via unanimous decision on Combate Global. Before then, 3-fight losing streak with a canceled bout and a no contest mixed in there as well. When he was 7 and 2, he beat a 3 and 0 guy. And yeah, his record doesn't look too great other than that. He beat Brian on the amateur scene. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. I'm going with the underdog on this one. This one's pretty much even. I'm going with Seba Santana from Spain. He's younger and he hasn't had a 3-year layoff. So there you go. There you go. Next up the card here, we got Connor Hughes up against Dylan Tuke the Nuke. I like it. Connor Hughes. Now, if you haven't heard of Connor Hughes yet, this guy's good. This guy is good. 7-0, perfect MMA pro career. Minus 500. He is the heavy favorite. England versus Ireland on this one. Let's quickly take a look at Hughes. 2 KO TKO, 4 submission. What the heck? 1 decision. 6-0 in UK fighting. 6-0 in UK fighting. And honestly, I don't hate his record. I don't hate his record. Beat a 1-1 guy when he's making his debut. Beat a 2-0 guy when he's 2-0. Beat a 3. And again, I don't put a lot of weight into guys crushing cans until they're around, that 4-0, 5-0 mark. When he was 4-0, okay, he beat a 6-12 guy. Beat a guy who at least had a lot of experience in there. At 5-0, went up against an 8-4 guy. Like, again, 8-4 is not the best record, but that is a step up from a guy making his debut when you're 3-0. And then beat a 4-0, another undefeated guy when he was 6-0 to advance his record to 7-0. So I actually don't mind that at all. He went 6-4 on the amateur scene. So I like the experience that this guy had both on the amateur scene and as a pro. And again, very talented. If you haven't heard rumblings of him from some of the UK MMA outlets, he should put on a show. But he does have a tough test ahead of him against the Nuke, Dylan Tuke, 5-3 as a pro. He is the pretty big underdog at plus 375. 2-3 in his last 5 fights, and he's coming off a loss. S-tier Tapology picture. Attaboy. Tapologist keeps wanting me to see it. 2 KO TKO, 3 submissions, 0 decisions. So he's finished all his opponents in his victories in pro mixed martial arts. 0-1 in Bellator. 3-0 in Bama. Shout out to Bama, man. I miss Bama. Lost to a 10-6 guy in his last fight. Beat a 3-1 guy before that. Actually lost to Sadiq Youssef in Brave CF. 39 seconds into the first round, but despite getting knocked out, that's not the worst loss, given that Sadiq Youssef is now in the UFC. When he's 2-0, he went against a 4-2 guy. I like this cat. I like this guy on a 4-0 in the amateur scene. You know what? Look, this is my big swing here, folks. This is my big swing. This is going to be my big swing on the card. Minus 500 heavy favorite for Connor Hughes. And look, he is very, very talented. Dylan Tuke, he's crushed less cans on his way up. He's actually fought some very good competition. 5-3 ain't the best record. I get it. But if you're going to win big, if you're going to swing on an underdog thus far anyways on this card, I'm going to go with Dylan Tuke, the Nuke. That is probably going to be my biggest underdog pick on this card. The guy has enough experience. He's fought really good fighters that should give him the experience and tools he needs to take out a young talent like Connor Hughes. Next, we have Aleksandr Chizov against Acoidan Duque. Aleksandr Chizov, 10-1 as a pro. He's on a 5-fight win streak. He's 5-0 in his last 5 fights, I should say. He's the slight favorite out of Latvia, 25 years of age. 6 KO TKO, 3 submissions, 1 decision. 1-0 in PFL, 3-0 in Freon Promotions. 7-fight win streak. He beat a 9-3 guy in his last fight. 8-4 guy before then. 8-3, 3-2. Not bad, man. Not a bad developmental record here. When he's 3-0, he lost his only fight to a 4-4 guy. And after that, he's gone on an absolute tear. Decent amateur career as well, going 4-2 on the amateur scene. 3-0 as a pro, lost one, had a canceled bout, and has just continued to develop and continued to fight pretty decent guys. I know 2-3 guys not that good, but 3-1, 3-2 to 8-3, 8-4, 9-3. We all got victories. Now, split decision against the 8-3 guy. I get it, but he knocked out the 8-4 guy, and he choked out Omar Hussein in PFL 9 during the playoffs. 9-3. Chizov at 25 years old is someone to keep your eye on, folks. However, his opponent, and the betting odds have this one super close. It's near even at plus 100 out of Spain. We have Acoidan Duque, 17-4 as a pro. He's only won 2 of his last 5 fights, though, folks. 2 KO, TKO, 11 submissions, 4 decisions. Wow, this guy likes to take this to the ground. 1 win in Bellator, 3 wins in Elite MMA. Last fought in UAE Warriors, where he lost to a 13-3 guy via unanimous decision. No contest before that. Beat a 5-1 guy after losing in UAE Warriors again. So he has 0-2 in UAE Warriors against a 17-5 guy. Before then, he was on a run. He was on a run 2-4-5 fight win streak where he beat some solid guys in Bellator, Slam Arena. He beat a 10-1 guy. Definitely not a padded record. Definitely not a padded record. Even in the early days of his career, mixing in 6-0 guys. I mean, oh shoot, he lost to Nicholas Dalby 6-0. I mean, in the Spain regional scene, maybe I spoke too soon on the padded record stuff because this chunk of his career may as well have been amateur. But as soon as he moved into bigger and better promotions, the guy started to prove himself, especially in the submission game. How good is Chizov in his submission defense? You guys are going to have to tell me in the comments below because I haven't seen this guy fight much, but I'm very impressed with his record. He's young. He's on a hell of a streak right now. He's the slight favorite because of the submission threat that Duque has. I understand why the odds are super close. Also, Duque has a lot of experience, mind you. Half of that could, in North America, half that record would probably be amateur fighting, amateur level fighting anyways. I'm going with Chizov on this one. I just can't pick against a guy with a record like that, coming off 2 great wins and still only 25 years of age. Uh-oh, it's the Tajikistan takeover, ladies and gentlemen. Next we have Amral Saydoshurov against Louis McGrillen-Evans, the McGrizzla. Oh, not bad. Not bad. 7-0. He is undefeated, and he is the massive favorite, minus 800. I'm interested to see this Tajikistan guy's record and fight career because he's only 8-5, but I mean, we're in the Tajikistan takeover, right, folks? I'm kind of leaning his way already. But let's take a deep dive into Louis McGrillen-Evans. Like I said, 7-0 as a pro. He's only 22 years of age, fighting out of Manchester, England. And he's already fought in the PFL. He's fought in PFL Europe once, so he beat a 6-7 guy. Okay. 8-6 guy, 5-17. Okay, I mean, this guy's been a little coddled on his way up. But a decent run as an amateur, going 8-1 on the amateur scene. Champion on the amateur scene, and just come out swinging in pro MMA, but it may as well be against amateur competition, as you can see the type of fighters that he is up against. The 8-6 guy is the best fighter that he's fought, and he beat him in round 2 via TKO. However, he hasn't fought anyone really of note. Looking at his opponent from Tajikistan, plus 550 underdog here. He's 8-5 as a pro, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, coming off a win. 5 KO TKO, 3 submissions. 5 KO TKO, 0 submissions, 3 decisions. He's 2-1 in OFG, Orion Fighting Global. His last opponent was 3-0, and he defeated him in the first round via knockout. Lost to a 12-5 guy. Lost to a 4-1 guy. Before them was on a 3-fight win streak, but again, hadn't really beat anyone impressive. Seems like those with the better records he loses to. And yeah, really doesn't have a notable win on his resume at all. So I'm not surprised that he is the big underdog here. I imagine just skill set. McGrillen has just had way more experience, way more time to polish up his craft. Probably has, despite only being 22 years old, probably has more tools in his tool belt. Now, that's not to say that Saydoshurov isn't an absolute killer and a beast and hard to deal with, but man, when you look at his record, he hasn't beaten any good fighters. He hasn't beaten any good fighters at all, and he's lost to the only decent guys on his resume. So as much as I wanted to pick the Tajikistan fighter, as much as I wanted to pick the underdog, I just can't do it. I can't do it. Just on paper alone, I can't even muster up an argument at all, other than the fact that Tajikistan has taken over MMA. That's not good enough in this case. I'm going with McGrillen. Next, we have Ali Taleb. 8-0 as a pro, and here's another huge favorite. Goddamn PFL and Bellator, man, with their odds all out of whack. But anyways, minus 700, he's a huge favorite out of Sweden. Perfect record is Ali Taleb. He's up against Kenji Bortoluzzi out of Switzerland, 33 years old. Huge underdog, but not a bad record. 11-4-1, and he's 4-1 in his last 5 fights, coming off a win. Before we look at the Swiss fighter, let's take a look at Ali Taleb. He looks like a scary motherfucker in this picture. 4 KO TKOs, 3 submissions, 1 decision. He's 1-0 in the PFL, 5-0 in UAE Warriors. I like that. I like that. UAE Warriors is a damn good regional promotion. Won via mounted guillotine in the first round against a 3-0 guy in the PFL. And UAE Warriors beat a 17-2 guy, 5-1, 8-4. 7-3 and 1-0. Not bad. The 1-0 guy, whatever. But the rest of those guys, decent. Especially given he was 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, 2-0, where he beat a 7-3 guy and he knocked them out in the second round. That is amazing to see. Went 2-2 on the amateur scene. Looking at his opponent, who's a huge underdog, but who has a good record, plus 500, is Kenji Bortoluzzi, 11-4-1 as a pro. Buddy Jim, I like that. I'm not your buddy guy. Oh my goodness, what the heck kind of promotion is this? Anyways, 2 KO TKO, 5 submissions, 4 decisions. Okay, a little pretty balanced fighter there. He's 2-1 in We Love MMA, 3-0 in Swiss MMA Championship. I mean, he's fighting back home. I mean, he's fighting in the promotions that he can get fights in. Fair enough. He beat a 7-0 guy in his last fight. Pretty impressive there. Lost to a 15-5 guy. Before them was on a 4-fight win streak. Beat a 12-6, 4-2, 11-5, and 15-5. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. Guillotine, 2 decisions, a submission, and a TKO. Beating an 11-2 guy when he's 4-1 in Respect. What is this? We Love MMA, Buddy Jim, Respect. I mean, the Swiss are just too nice. You guys say the Canada's too nice? Man, the Swiss are too nice. Jeez. I mean, it's not a bad record here. It's not a bad resume, I should say. But upon reviewing the two, it has nothing to do with the guy being undefeated, just the level of fighters that he's fought, as well as his amateur experience. I got to go with Ali Taleb. But if there's going to be a big upset on this card, another big upset, I should say, Kenji Bortoluzzi, not the worst pick to swing on. Not the worst pick to drop a little half unit or a little something, 0.2, something like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you could potentially win a good chunk of change for a guy who actually has experience, who's fought some decent guys on the come up. Do I think he's at the same level as Ali? No. But again, these are the moneymaker ones, even if you drop just a little bit on it. Now, I'm no betting expert, but this is the type of fight that if I was playing around with this one, if I had a few units to drop here or there, this might be one that I swing on, much like that last fight down the card that I talked about as well. But for my official predictions, I am going with Ali Taleb. Next on the card, we have Frans Mlambo against Rachid Haz. The Black Mamba, Frans Mlambo, 13-5 out of South Africa, yet fighting out of Dublin, Ireland. He's 32 years of age. He actually trains at a SBG under Kavanagh and I don't know with McGregor, but that's McGregor's gym. Up against Rachid Hughes from Spain, training out of Las Vegas at Syndicate MMA. So both these guys actually train out of very, very good gyms. 13-5 as a pro, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Is the 32-year-old Black Mamba. 4 KO TKO, 4 submissions, 5 decisions. So a very well-balanced fighter. 3-1 in Bellator, 4-3 in Brave, and 3-0 in Combate Global. I mean, all 3 of those promotions I respect. I mean, Bellator as much as I can, but you know what I mean. These aren't just any regional shows. These are pretty decent ones. And Bellator is above a regional show. I get it. But Combate Global is a solid regional show. Brave is a very good regional show, and he has experience in all 3 of those. 5-fight win streak right now. Split decision against a 14-2 guy. Unanimous decision against an 8-3. Split against a 22-8. Oh, he fought an FEN too. That's awesome. 12-4. I mean, look, the last guys that he's fought, the last guys that he's beaten, all have pretty decent records. Again, decent records. Keyword decent, folks. He lost to a 12-3 guy in Bellator via left hook, but before then was on a 3-fight win streak in Brave CF and Bellator. He beat a 6-2 guy, 6-3 and 4-1. When he was 5-4, 6-4, and 7-4, respectfully. Lost to a 10-2 guy in Brave CF when he was 5-2. I wouldn't even call this guy streaky. I mean, he goes on good winning streaks upon losing. That's what you want to see in a decorated amateur career, going 10-2. I like this guy. And no odds for this one listed at the time of this recording. Looking at Rachid has 12-2 in his pro MMA career. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He's 4-1 in his last 5 fights. 3 KO TKO, 5 submissions, and he's never been submitted. 3 decisions. 4-0 in UWC. Beat a 5-3 guy, 11-6, 10-7. So not the best guys in his last 4 wins. A 6-6 guy as well. When he was 8-1, he went up against an 8-1 guy and lost via split decision. When he was 8-0, he lost to a 3-1 guy where he lost via KO, TKO in the 3rd round. Before then, though, was undefeated, mind you, not beating the best guys in the Spain regional and Hombre de Honor Elite MMA. Just look, the guy's got experience. The guy has a decent record at only 12-2. But does he have the experience? And furthermore, fighting guys who have very good records and experience themselves as Frans Mlambo? I don't think he does. However, he does train out of a good gym. This one should be a banger, but I'm going with the Black Mamba. I am going with Frans Mlambo. Featured fight on the card here, ladies and gentlemen. We have Lorena Cubero, the She-Hulk. 3-0 as a pro. If you include amateur fights, she is 4-1 in her last 5. She's the favorite, minus 200, 18 years old, fighting out of Germany. Her opponent, Griet, Eeckhout, the Pineapple. Fun nickname. Plus 160. She's 6-4 and 1, 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Let's take a look at the She-Hulk. 3-0 in GMC. And again, super young in the sport and young literally. I'm not going to judge her based off her record here. She beat a 1-1 gal, a 0-3 gal, and a 0-1 gal. Hasn't really beat anyone impressive, but she's had 3 pro fights. 1-1 on the amateur scene as well. She's been in GMC the whole time. The way that the odds have her, though, she must be talented as fuck. Looking at her opponent, the Pineapple, out of Belgium. Plus 160 underdog. The experience factor could play a part here, ladies and gentlemen, against an 18-year-old talent who hasn't faced hard competition. 2 KO, TKO, 2 submissions, 2 decisions, 0-1 in Bellator, 1-2 in TKO Major League MMA. Coming off a win against a 3-5 gal, she knocked her out. Lost to Mandy Bohm in Bellator. Lost a unanimous decision. Before then, beat a 4-1 gal, and that's a good win. And a 2-6 gal, not the best. Was on a 3-fight losing streak against not the best competition either. She did beat a 4-1 gal in her 3rd pro fight when she was 2-0-1. So she has fought some decent competition. And I mean, fighting Mandy Bohm, going to a decision with Mandy Bohm, that's in itself something a fight that you can get a lot of experience from, a fight that you can learn a lot from. Having said all that, I think I'm going to go with the veteran versus the 18-year-old prospect here. This might be one of these fights where Lorena Cubero is just dragged into the deep end. Pineapple might not be the most talented fighter, but she does have some power in those mitts. And I think she might be just a little too much for the young Lorena Cubero. Now, Cubero does have a lot of amateur experience. I get it. But I'm going with the underdog on this one. And by choosing the underdog, that's no disrespect to Lorena Cubero. At minus 200, with only three pro fights, undefeated at 18 years old, she's clearly talented, and she's clearly going to just get better and better. Going up against someone who, with the experience of an Eeckhout, despite her record, despite her not being the best fighter out there, she still has fought fighters who I know are better than those that She-Hulk has beaten. So I'm going with the underdog on this one. Plus 160, I'm going with the Pineapple. Griet, Eeckhout. Co-main event of the evening is next, ladies and gentlemen. And we got Moktar Benkaci against Khurshed Kakhorov. Uh-oh, he's got an Ov in his name. Oh, but he's the underdog and he's got an Ov in his name?
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Moktar, 20 wins, 7 losses. He is 4-0 in his last 5 fights. He is coming off we'll have to say, I imagine this is a no contest due to accidental eye poke. Minus 140, slight favorite out of France. 20 wins, 7 losses. This cat's got a ton of experience in pro MMA. 9 KO TKO, 7 submissions, 4 decisions. All 7 of his losses have come via decision. He's never been submitted. He's never been knocked out. 1 no contest in PFL, 2-2 in M1. M1's a solid promotion. 3-0 in PFC, and 3-1 in 100% fight. I should say in PFC he had 1 no contest as well. Currently on a 2-4-6 fight win streak, without including the no contest in PFL 8 of last year. Beat a 20-9 guy. Oof, a 4-11 guy and a 3-0 guy, 11-5. Okay, this guy's been crushing cans, man. This guy's been, despite the experience this guy has, as of late, he has not been fighting the best guys. And he does have a 12-4 win, a 9-2 on his record back in 2016. But that was 2016, folks. That was almost a decade ago. Fought in M1, fought in Cage Wars. I like that he's fought in various promotions. He obviously has a lot of experience, but just looking at his record right here, especially some of his last wins, 4-11, 3-0, 1-1 against Dmitry Orlov. I didn't know Dmitry Orlov left the NHL and went to fight MMA. I'm kidding. Not impressed with this performance. Looking at his opponent, Killer Kakhorov, 9-1 as a pro, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He is plus 110. He is the slight underdog. Training out of Extreme Couture. That is a damn good gym. He's only been knocked out once. 7 KO TKO. Never been submitted. Never won via submission. 1-2 decision. So his only loss has come via KO. He's 1-1 in Bellator. 5-0 in GMC. He beat a 4-1 guy in his last fight. Lost to a 17-3 guy in Bellator. No shame there. Before then, was undefeated. Beat a 6-2 guy. 8-5, 3-0, 5-0 when he was 4-0. I like this guy's record. 1-1 on the amateur scene, but, built up, beat some good opponents on the come up. Yeah, as of late, I mean, his last win 4-1-1. That's not great, but overall, I like what I see as of late more than his opponent. I'm going with the underdog again on this one, folks. He's got an Ov in his last name. You can't pick against him. I am going with Khurshed Kakhorov, the killer. He's going to get into the double digits of wins, ladies and gentlemen. Mark my words. Locking it in. And now we move to the main event of the evening, PFL Europe 2, 2023 regular season, ladies and gentlemen. Francesco Nuzzi against Farbod, Iran, Nezhad, who ain't from Iran, he's from Germany. Bantamweight main event here. Francesco Nuzzi, the Berserker, 9-1 as a pro, 4-4 in his last 5 fights, not including the accidental eye poke in his last fight. He is the favorite at minus 275. He's 26 years old, so very young in the sport of pro MMA, and he reigns from Italy. 3 KO, TKO, 3 submissions, 3 decisions. Again, he's fought in PFL once. It was a no contest due to an eye poke. Fought in Italian cage fighting where he went 3-0 as well. We just talked about that fight in our last rundown there with Moktar Benkaci. 2 grappling matches before his last fight in 2022. So he hasn't actually fought in MMA. He hasn't won in MMA, I should say, since 2021. There was the accidental eye poke, and that one he won 2 grappling matches before then. But his last MMA win did come in Brave CF against an 8-1 guy. I like to see that. Fought an undefeated 4-0 guy before then. 6-8, I don't like that. 6-2, I like that though. So some notable wins on his record, but again, wasn't really active in fighting in pro mixed martial arts since 2021. But again, split decision. It was close, but you still went to a split decision against a 8-1 guy. When you were 8-1, I like to see that. Oof, he went 1-2 on the amateur scene. And this guy's the favorite. Interesting. Looking at his opponent, Farbod Nezhad, 11-2-1 in his pro MMA career. He's 3-2 in his last 5 fights, and he's the underdog, plus 215. He's 32 years old, coming out of Germany. 2 KO, TKO, 2 submissions, 7 decisions, and he's 3-0, and we love MMA. Running a 3-fight win streak, like I said, 12-6, 7-3, 17-8. Okay, not bad. Not good, but not bad. Lost to Felipe Lima in Brave CF, who was 8-1 at the time. He was 8-1 as well. And he lost to Taleb, who was 12-2, and he was 8-0. So not bad losses there at all. Beat a 4-0 guy when he was 7-0. Beat a draw against a 6-4 guy when he was 4-0. And I'm pretty sure that's pretty much it. Again, I don't really judge a fighter on crushing cans until they're at that like 4-0, 5-0 mark. You know, he's at 5-0, beat a 3-1 guy, whatever. I mean, crushed a can here, beat a 4-0 guy. That's not bad. And then step up in competition, 12-2 and 8-1. Felipe Lima, Taylor Lapilou. 2 notable fighters, especially those who cover, you know, regional shows like myself. And then took on some better competition and won, mind you, all unanimous decision. 1 win on the amateur scene where he got a rear naked choke. This one's a tough one. Because to be honest, on paper, I'm not really impressed with either of these guys' performance or either of these guys' resume, I should say. This one's tough. Let's quickly take a look at his, because I'm not super impressed by his performance either. Grappler. This one's tough, guys. This one's tough. This guy doesn't have a lot of finishes, but he's good at dragging the fights out to a decision. I'm just going to quickly see if these guys here are good grapplers at all, because that could, some of his last wins, because that could tell a lot about him. Okay. That's pretty good. Let's take a look at this cat here. That was enough to sell me for going purely on paper here, only watching a handful of prospects from this guy as prep. I'm going with the underdog, Farbod Nezhad. I know he doesn't have a lot of finishes. I know he hasn't fought the best competition, but Nuzzi, no contest in his last fight. Before then, had not fought in MMA since 2021. Yes, he's a finishing machine, but this guy's just beaten 2 guys who are damn good grapplers and submission artists as well. So I'm going with the underdog on this one. And look at that. We have come out of this prediction with a few underdog picks as well. Let me know your predictions in the comments, folks. Let me know if you have any crazy parlays going on for this card as well. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.